I sat across from Olivia in the small cafe, watching her stir her coffee like she always did when she was excited. I smiled at her and said, "Only a few weeks left now." She looked up and laughed softly. "I still can't believe it, Ethan. I'm going to be your wife." My heart felt warm. And I'm the luckiest man alive. She reached across the table and held my hand. "We are going to be so happy. No more waiting, no more distance." I nodded. "We should book the honeymoon soon. Maybe Italy. Anywhere with you," she said. "That's all I want." I leaned back, feeling peace I had waited years for. 5 years with her had been full of struggles, but now everything made sense. Later that evening, I was at home when my mother called everyone for dinner. My father sat at the head of the table as always, serious and quiet. My brother Lucas arrived late. Grace smiled at Olivia. "You are becoming part of our family soon." Olivia smiled back. "I can't wait, Auntie." Lucas barely touched his food. I noticed it but ignored it. My father raised his glass. "To Ethan and Olivia." Everyone joined. "To them," my mother said. I looked at Olivia and felt proud. After dinner, I stepped outside with Lucas. The night air was cold. "You okay?" I asked him. He didn't look at me. "Yeah, just busy." "You've been quiet since the engagement." He shrugged. "Work." Something felt off, but I let it go. Days passed in a blur of wedding plans. Olivia and I visited venues, argued about flowers, laughed about silly things. One evening she rested her head on my shoulder. "Do you ever feel scared?" "Of what?" I asked. "Of losing this." I held her closer. "Never. You're my future." She smiled, but I noticed her hand trembled slightly. At home, Emily teased us constantly. "I can't believe my brother is finally getting married." Olivia laughed. "You better give a good speech." Lucas watched from a distance again. I caught him staring at Olivia once. He quickly looked away. I frowned. "Lucas, come join us." "I'm fine," he said. The night ended with laughter, but something in me felt unsettled. That night, I sat alone in my room holding the wedding rings. They felt real, heavy, meaningful. "I finally have everything I ever wanted," I whispered. My phone suddenly lit up. Unknown number. "If you marry Olivia, you're making the biggest mistake of your life." The next morning, Olivia and I visited the wedding planner. She showed us designs for the hall and asked, "Do you prefer white roses or lilies?" Olivia answered quickly, "White roses. They feel pure." I smiled. "Just like us." Olivia laughed softly, but her eyes drifted away for a moment. On the way out, I held her hand. "You seem distracted lately." She shook her head. "I'm just nervous. Big changes, you know?" I kissed her forehead. "It's going to be perfect." At home, Emily rushed toward me. "Ethan, Mom is planning a surprise dinner for you both." I groaned playfully. "Again." Olivia smiled. "Your family really loves celebrations." Lucas passed by without speaking. I stopped him. "Hey, are you avoiding me?" He finally looked at me. "No, I just have a lot on my mind." "Talk to me," I said. He hesitated. "It's nothing. Forget it." That night, I saw him on the balcony talking on the phone. His voice was low and tense. I couldn't hear clearly, but I caught one word: Olivia. My chest tightened slightly. I told myself I was overthinking. Later, Olivia hugged me tightly. "Promise me something." "Anything," I said. "Trust me no matter what happens." I laughed. "Always." She smiled, but there was sadness behind it. As I lay in bed, I stared at the ceiling, thinking about Lucas, about Olivia's strange behavior, about everything feeling slightly off. Still, I pushed the thoughts away. I closed my eyes and imagined our wedding day, her walking toward me, everyone smiling. But before sleep took me fully, my phone lit up again. Unknown number. "You still have time to stop this." I deleted the message, but my heart kept racing. I tried to convince myself it was a prank, maybe someone jealous of my happiness. I put the phone aside and whispered, "Ignore it, Ethan." Still, sleep didn't come easily. I kept replaying Lucas's face, Olivia's nervous smile, and that strange feeling I had ignored all week. Outside, the wind hit the window softly. I turned toward Olivia sleeping peacefully beside me, and I forced myself to believe tomorrow would be normal again, even though something deep inside me refused to calm down at all at that moment. I woke up with that message still burning in my mind. If you marry Olivia, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. I kept staring at my phone like it would explain itself. Olivia was in the kitchen when I walked in. She smiled like nothing was wrong. "Good morning, Ethan. You look tired." I placed my phone on the table. "Did you get any strange messages yesterday?" Her hands paused for a second. Then she continued making tea. "No." "Why?" I watched her closely. "Someone texted me something weird about you." She turned around slowly. "About me?" "Yes," I said. "And I need you to be honest. Who would send something like that?" She walked over and sat beside me. "I don't know, Ethan. Please trust me." "Are you hiding anything from me?" Her voice softened. "No. I swear." I wanted to believe her. I really did. Later, I met Daniel at a small parking area near my office. He leaned against his car and looked at me. "You look like you didn't sleep," he said. I showed him my phone. "I got this message." He read it and frowned. "This is not a joke." "I know," I said. "But Olivia says she knows nothing." Daniel crossed his arms. "Then we don't ask her again. We investigate." "Investigate what?" I asked. "Everything," he replied. "Her past, Lucas's behavior, anything that doesn't fit." I hesitated. "That sounds extreme." Daniel shook his head. "Ethan, love makes people blind. Don't let it happen to you." I didn't answer, but his words stayed with me. That evening, I was still thinking when my phone rang. Unknown number again. I answered slowly. "Hello." A woman's voice came through. "Is this Ethan Carter?" "Yes." "This is Rebecca Hayes. I'm a legal consultant. I think we need to talk about your family name." I frowned. "My family? What about it?" "It's sensitive," she said. "Can you meet me?" I hesitated. "Why me?" "Because your name appears in a document you were never meant to see." Something in my chest tightened. "When?" "Now," she said. "It's urgent." I met her at a quiet office downtown. She placed a folder in front of me without smiling. "I don't know how to say this," she said. "Just say it," I replied. She opened the file. Inside was a marriage certificate. I saw Olivia's name first, then Lucas's name. My heart stopped. This is fake," I said immediately. Rebecca shook her head. "It's registered 2 years ago. Legally binding." I stared at the paper again. My vision blurred. "No, that's not possible." My hands started shaking as I picked it up. The date, the signatures, everything was real. My voice cracked. "She told me she loved me." Rebecca stayed silent. I stood up suddenly. "This is a mistake. It has to be." I walked out without waiting for her response. Outside, the air felt too heavy. I called Lucas immediately. He picked up on the third ring. "Ethan," he said. I didn't waste time. "Tell me this is fake." Silence filled the line. "Lucas," I repeated louder. "Tell me right now." He finally spoke, but his voice was low. "Where did you see it?" My grip tightened. "So it's real." More silence. Then he whispered, "I'm sorry." The world around me stopped. I leaned against the wall, barely standing. "You're sorry? That's all you can say." "Ethan, he started. I cut him off. "No, no excuses. You married her." He didn't answer. That silence said everything. My chest felt like it was collapsing. "What about me, Lucas?" His voice broke slightly. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." I laughed bitterly. "So it just happened?" "I didn't want to lose everything," he said. I closed my eyes. "You already lost me." I ended the call. I stood there for a long time, staring at nothing. Every memory with Olivia suddenly felt poisoned. Every smile, every promise, every word. My phone slipped slightly in my hand. I whispered to myself, "Both of them, And in that moment, I realized the truth was worse than anything I could imagine. The woman I was going to marry, and my own brother, had both been lying to me all along. I walked into the house knowing everything had already ended inside me, even if nobody had said it out loud yet. Olivia was standing in the living room, and Lucas was beside her. Both of them turned toward me at the same time. I didn't sit. I didn't greet them. I just said, "Both of you now." Silence filled the room as everyone gathered. My mother stood near the stairs. My father came in from the study. Emily followed behind them, confused. I looked at Olivia first. My voice stayed cold. "How long?" Olivia's eyes filled instantly. "Ethan, please." "How long?" I repeated louder. Lucas finally spoke, but he didn't look at me. "Ethan, calm down." I snapped. "Don't tell me to calm down." Olivia broke into tears. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." I laughed bitterly. "You think that matters now?" Emily stepped forward. "Ethan, what is going on?" I pointed at both of them. "Ask them." My father's voice came sharp. "Explain." Lucas stayed silent. I turned to Olivia. "You stood in front of me. You smiled at me. And you were already his wife." Olivia cried harder. "We never meant for it to happen." That sentence hit me harder than anything else. I stepped closer. "You married him." Lucas finally looked at me for a second, then away again. I shouted, "You married him." Olivia shook her head. "It was complicated." "Complicated." I repeated. "You call this complicated?" Lucas spoke quietly. "I was going to lose everything." I froze. "What?" He finally sighed. "My career, my inheritance." There was a scandal. The marriage was to protect my position. My father's face darkened instantly. "What did you just say?" Lucas continued, still avoiding eye contact. "It was arranged quickly. No one was supposed to know." Emily looked shocked. "So you used her?" Olivia cried. "I had no choice." I turned to her sharply. "No choice." She stepped toward me. "I loved you, Ethan. I still do." Those words broke something inside me all over again. I stepped back. "Don't say that." She reached for me. "Please understand." I pulled my hand away. "Understand what?" "That I was a backup plan." Lucas spoke again, quieter this time. "It wasn't like that." I snapped. "Then what was it?" No one answered. My mother finally spoke softly. "Ethan, try to breathe." I turned toward her. "Don't." My father raised his voice. "This is disgraceful." Lucas finally shouted back. "I did what I had to do." Emily stepped between us. "Stop it." The room was chaos now, voices overlapping, emotions breaking apart. I couldn't take it anymore. I looked at all of them and felt something cold settle inside me. I removed my engagement ring slowly. My hands shook, but I forced it off. Olivia gasped. "Ethan, no." I held the ring in my palm for a second. All the promises it represented suddenly felt like lies. I dropped it on the table. "I don't know who any of you are anymore," I said. The room went silent. Lucas whispered, "Ethan, don't do this." But I already had. I turned around and walked toward the door. My father called after me. "Stop right there." I didn't stop. Emily ran after me. "Ethan, please." I opened the door and stepped outside. The cold air hit my face, but I didn't feel it. Nothing felt real anymore. Behind me, I heard Olivia cry out my name, but I didn't turn back. I kept walking. Each step felt heavier than the last, like I was leaving my entire life behind with every movement. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay there another second. And for the first time, I realized I was completely alone in a life that used to belong to me. I left the city without telling anyone where I was going. I just got in my car and drove until the roads felt unfamiliar. I stopped in a small place where nobody knew my name, and for the first time that felt safe. The apartment I rented was empty and quiet. Too quiet. I stood in the middle of it and said, "So this is it." No answer came. Days started blending together. I barely ate. I'd sit at the small table and just stare at food until it got cold. Sometimes I whispered, "Eat, Ethan," but my body refused. At night, sleep never stayed long. I would wake up sweating, hearing Olivia's voice in my head, Lucas's apology echoing like it never ended. I kept telling myself, forget it, move on. But my mind didn't listen. One morning, I opened a drawer and saw my old wedding invitations. I froze. "This is stupid," I muttered, but my hands were already shaking. I picked them up anyway. Olivia's handwriting looked so soft, so innocent. I whispered, "You were planning a wedding with me." I threw them back down like they burned me. Next, I found photos on my phone. Every smile felt fake now. Every memory felt rewritten. I scrolled through them and said, "How long were you lying?" I deleted nothing. Couldn't. Felt like losing her again. Then I saw the engagement ring in a small box. I hadn't touched it since that night. I opened it slowly. My throat tightened. "You promised me forever," I said to the empty room. I closed the box quickly and pushed it away. Voice messages were worse. I almost never listened, but I did once. Olivia's voice came through softly. "Ethan, I miss you." I turned it off immediately. "Stop," I said out loud. "Just stop." My phone buzzed one evening. "Daniel," I answered. "Yeah." His voice was careful. "Where are you?" "Far," I said. A pause. "You can't disappear like this forever." "I can try," I replied. He sighed. "I'm coming to see you." Before I could answer, he hung up. I didn't move for a long time. I just stared at the wall and whispered, "No one should come here." The next day, someone knocked on my door. I opened it slowly. Sophie stood there. For a second, I couldn't speak. "How did you find me?" I finally asked. She smiled softly. "You forget I know you too well." I stepped aside without thinking. "You shouldn't be here." She walked in anyway. "Yes, I should." I closed the door. "Why?" She looked around the empty room. "Because you're not okay." I laughed once. "That's an understatement." She sat down across from me. "You don't have to survive this alone." I looked away. "I already am alone." "No," she said firmly. "You're isolating yourself." I sat down slowly. My voice dropped. "I don't know how to live after this." Came out before I could stop it. Sophie didn't react with shock. She just nodded. "Then don't try to live the old way." I frowned. "What does that even mean?" "It means you're not supposed to go back to who you were," she said. "You rebuild." I shook my head. "I don't have anything left." She leaned forward. "You still have yourself." That sentence stayed in my head longer than I expected. Days passed. Sophie kept visiting. Sometimes she made me eat. Sometimes she forced me outside. Sometimes she just sat in silence with me. I didn't heal, but I didn't break further either. I started going to work again slowly, taking small projects. I met a therapist Sophie recommended. The first session, I said, "I don't know why I'm here." The therapist replied, "That's enough to start." I didn't believe it, but I kept going. At night, anger still burned inside me. I would lie in bed and whisper, "They ruined everything." Sometimes I punched the pillow and said, "Why them? Why me?" But Sophie would always say, "Don't let it consume you." I wanted to believe her. I tried. One evening, Daniel called again. His voice was different this time. "I found something," he said. I sat up. "About what?" His pause was heavy. "Lucas and Olivia. This goes deeper than you think." My grip tightened on the phone. "What are you saying?" "I'm coming over," he said. "You need to see this yourself." And in that moment, something inside me shifted again. I returned to the city without telling anyone. This time I wasn't running away. I was coming back for answers. Daniel met me outside the station. He looked serious, holding a folder in his hand. "You shouldn't have come alone," he said. "I'm not alone," I replied. "Not anymore." He nodded. "Good. Because what I found, you need to see it yourself." We went to a small office space he had rented for digging into the case. He placed the folder on the table. "Start from here," he said. I opened it slowly. "What am I looking at?" I asked. Daniel leaned forward. Financial records. Lucas didn't just hide his marriage. He manipulated company accounts too. I frowned. Why would he do that? To protect his image, Daniel said. And Olivia was part of it. I looked up sharply. Don't drag her into everything. He stayed calm. I'm not guessing. I'm showing you. I flipped through the pages. Numbers, transfers, hidden accounts. My voice dropped. He used her. Daniel nodded. She helped maintain the appearance of a stable life while he secured business deals. I shut the file. This is worse than I thought. My phone rang suddenly. Olivia. I stared at the screen. Daniel said, "Don't ignore it. You need to hear her side." I answered. Her voice came immediately. "Ethan, please let me explain." I closed my eyes. "You already did. I can fix this," she said quickly. "Just meet me." I stood up. "You lied." A pause. "I was trapped," she said softly. I tightened my grip on the phone. "That's not an excuse." "Please," she whispered. "Just one meeting." I ended the call. Daniel watched me. "Still think she's innocent?" I didn't answer. He pushed another document toward me. "There's more." I opened it. "This is Noah Bennett," he said. "Olivia's father." I scanned the papers. "He's involved too?" Daniel nodded. "He's been pressuring Olivia to keep everything quiet. Reputation control." I exhaled slowly. "So it's not just them." "No," Daniel said. "It's a whole system protecting itself." My phone buzzed again. Olivia calling again. I didn't pick up. Later that day, I went back to my temporary apartment. Emily was waiting outside. I stopped. "What are you doing here?" She crossed her arms. "I'm not letting you handle this alone." I sighed. "You shouldn't be involved." "I already am," she said firmly. "And I'm not staying silent anymore." I looked at her. "What do you mean?" She took a step closer. "I heard things at home. Dad and Mom are trying to shut everything down. They want you to stop digging." I shook my head. "Of course they do." Emily's voice rose. "But I won't." For a moment, I just stared at her. "You're choosing this?" I asked. "I'm choosing you," she said. That hit harder than I expected. Back inside, Daniel showed me more files. Evidence kept stacking up. The deeper I went, the worse it became. "This isn't just betrayal," I said quietly. "It's control." Daniel nodded. "Exactly." The phone rang again. "Olivia." This time I answered. "Ethan," she said immediately. "Please listen." "No," I interrupted. "You listen." Silence. "You lied," I said again. "You used me. You let me believe everything was real." Her voice broke. "I loved you." I laughed bitterly. "Stop saying that." "Ethan, you already chose," I said. "You chose him. You chose this life." A long silence followed. Then she whispered, "I didn't have a choice." I closed my eyes. "Everyone says that." I ended the call again. Daniel looked at me. "You okay?" "No," I said honestly. "But I understand now." That night, everything shifted. Daniel burst into the room holding another folder. "I found it," he said quickly. I stood up. "Found what?" He placed it on the table. Evidence that Lucas's entire business license, contracts, everything he built, could be invalid if this gets exposed. I stared at it. "So he loses everything?" Daniel nodded. "Everything." For a moment, the room was silent. I whispered, "Then it's all about to fall apart." And for the first time since it began, I realized the truth wasn't just pain anymore. It was power. I didn't have to do anything anymore. Lucas's world started collapsing on its own. Daniel called me first thing in the morning. "It's happening," he said. I sat up. "What is?" "Everything," he replied. "His partners are pulling out. Investors are backing off. It's spreading fast." I stayed quiet for a moment. "So it's true?" "Yes," Daniel said. "He's losing control." Later that day, Emily texted me. "People at home are talking. Dad is furious." I didn't reply. At night, I met Daniel again. He can't stop it now, Daniel said. Once trust is gone, it's over. I leaned back. He built his life on control. And now he has none, Daniel added. I should have felt happy. I didn't. My phone buzzed again. Olivia. I ignored it, but she kept calling. Finally, I answered. Ethan, she said quickly. Please don't hang up. What do you want? I asked. Her voice shook. Everything is falling apart. I laughed slightly. Welcome to my world. I didn't know it would go this far, she said. I stayed silent. Lucas is breaking down, she added. People are leaving him. I finally spoke. That's what happens when lies catch up. A pause. He's not sleeping, she said quietly. He's not eating. He's losing everything. I replied coldly, and silence again. Then she whispered, Can we meet? I frowned. Why? I need to see you, she said. Just once. I ended the call without answering. The next morning, Daniel showed me news articles. His company is finished, he said. Public trust is gone. I looked at the screen. Headlines. Accusations. Collapse. So it's real, I said. Daniel nodded. Completely. At home, Grace called me unexpectedly. I answered. What? Her voice was weak. Ethan, please. Don't. I said. I didn't know it would go this far, she said. I sighed. You all say that now. She started crying. We're losing the family. We already lost it, I said quietly. I ended the call. That evening, I saw Lucas in person for the first time since everything started falling apart. He looked different, tired, broken. You came, he said. I didn't sit. You wanted this life. He shook his head. I didn't think it would destroy everything. I crossed my arms. But it did. He looked down. Everyone left me. I replied, That's what happens when you build your life on lies. He flinched. I thought I could keep everyone happy, he said quietly. I stared at him. By lying to everyone? I was scared, he said. Of what? I asked sharply. Losing control, he admitted. I shook my head. You lost more than that. He finally looked at me. I know. For a moment, silence filled the space between us. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt nothing. Later, I sat with Sophie. She watched me carefully. You're quieter than usual. I saw him, I said. And? She asked. He's falling apart, I replied. Sophie leaned forward. How does that make you feel? I didn't answer right away. Tell me the truth, she said gently. I finally said, I don't know. She nodded slowly. That's normal. I looked away. I thought I'd feel better. And do you? She asked. I shook my head. No. She stayed quiet for a moment. Then she asked, If revenge won't heal you, what will? I froze. I opened my mouth, then closed it again. I don't know, I admitted. Sophie didn't push further. She just nodded like she expected that answer. That night, my phone rang again. Olivia. I stared at it for a long time before answering. Ethan, she said softly. Please meet me. One last time. And for the first time since everything began, I didn't immediately say no. I agreed to meet Olivia, but I didn't tell anyone. Not Daniel. Not Sophie. I just said, I need to do this once. And left. She was already waiting at the quiet cafe when I arrived. No smile. No fake calm. Just tired eyes. I sat down without greeting her. Talk. Her hands shook slightly. Thank you for coming. I didn't come for comfort, I said. I came for truth. She nodded quickly. I know. A long silence fell between us before she spoke again. I don't even know where to start, she whispered. Start with why, I said. Her eyes dropped. Because I was scared. I leaned forward. Of me? No, she said fast. Of everything. Of losing control. Of Lucas. Of my family. Of what people would say. I stared at her. So you chose lies instead. Her voice cracked. I didn't think it would go this far. That's what everyone says, I replied. She swallowed hard. Ethan, I loved you. The words hit, but I didn't react the way I used to. I leaned back. Then why didn't you choose me? Tears filled her eyes immediately. I was weak. Say it clearly, I said. She looked up. I was trapped between guilt and comfort. I stayed quiet, letting her continue. I married Lucas because I thought it would fix everything, she said. But it only made it worse. And then I met you, and I didn't know how to undo anything. I shook my head slowly. So I was just, what? A mistake you couldn't fix. No, she said quickly. You were real. I laughed bitterly. Real doesn't matter when everything is built on lies. Her voice dropped. I never stopped thinking about you. I looked at her for a long moment. That doesn't change anything. She wiped her tears. Do you hate me? I answered honestly. I don't know anymore. That made her cry harder. For a moment, I felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness exactly, just understanding. I said quietly, I get it now. She looked up. Get what? You weren't strong enough to choose anything, I said. Not me, not him, not yourself. She nodded slowly, breaking down completely. I stood up. Ethan, wait, she said quickly. I shook my head. I came here for closure, not a restart. She reached out slightly. Please don't leave like this. I looked at her one last time. I hope you become someone better, I said. But that future won't include me. Her breath caught. Ethan. But I was already walking away. Behind me, I heard her cry out my name, but I didn't stop. Each step felt heavier than the last, but also clearer. I didn't look back. I thought that would be the hardest moment. I was wrong, because when I reached the street outside, I saw Lucas standing there. He looked like he had been waiting. My body froze. Ethan, he said quietly. I stared at him. What are you doing here? His voice cracked. I need to talk to you. I crossed my arms. You already said everything you had to say. He shook his head. No, not everything. I stayed silent. Then he said the words I never expected. Please, forgive me. And just like that, the past I was trying to escape stood right in front of me again. Lucas was waiting for me outside the old building again. This time, I didn't turn away. I walked straight up to him and said, No more running. Talk. He nodded slowly. I didn't expect you to come. I didn't come for you, I said. I came for answers. A long silence stretched between us before I spoke again. You stole my future. Lucas closed his eyes for a moment. I know. That simple answer made my chest tighten. I stepped closer. Say it properly. He looked at me. I stole your future. My voice rose. And you think, I'm sorry fixes that? He shook his head quickly. No, it doesn't. I laughed bitterly. Then why are you here? Lucas hesitated. Because I needed to face you. I crossed my arms. Face me? After everything. He lowered his head. I didn't plan for any of this to happen like this. I snapped. But it still happened. Silence. Then he finally spoke again. I was always in your shadow, Ethan. I frowned. What? You were the younger one, he said. But everyone looked at you like you were the important one. I shook my head. So this is jealousy? He nodded slowly. Yes, jealousy, pressure, fear. I stepped back slightly. That doesn't justify anything. I'm not trying to justify it, he said quickly. I'm trying to explain it. I stared at him. Explain how you destroyed my life. His voice cracked. I never wanted to hurt you. I cut him off instantly. You still did. That shut him down completely. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I asked quietly, Did you ever think about me? While you were doing all this? He looked down. Yes. Not enough, I said. He nodded. Not enough. That honesty hurt more than lies. I stepped closer. Do you even remember when we were kids? He looked up slightly. I continued. You used to tell me I could trust you. His eyes dropped again. I trusted you more than anyone, I said. And you turned into this. Lucas swallowed hard. I know. A long silence followed. Then he said, I ruined everything. I shook my head. We ruined everything. You just started it. He gave a small broken laugh. Fair. I looked away for a moment. My anger was still there, but something else was growing under it. Tiredness. I said quietly, I can't keep hating you like this forever. He looked at me quickly. Ethan. I raised my hand. But don't mistake that for forgiveness. He nodded slowly. I don't deserve it anyway. I sighed. You don't. Another silence. This one felt different. Less sharp. More empty. Lucas spoke again, softer now. Is there any way back? I shook my head immediately. No. That answer hurt both of us. I wish things were different, he said. So do I replied. We stood there without speaking for a while. Two brothers who didn't recognize each other anymore. Finally, I said, I won't carry this hatred forever. Lucas looked at me carefully. But you'll never forgive me. I thought about it. Then I said, maybe one day. Not today. He nodded like that was all he could hope for. I took a step back. But listen to me. He looked up. You can live with guilt, I said. I have to live with the damage. He whispered, I understand. I turned away slowly. We're done here. As I started walking, I heard him say quietly, I'm still your brother. I stopped for a second. Without turning back, I said, I don't know who you are anymore. Then I walked away. Each step felt like I was leaving a part of my past behind. But before I could fully disappear into the street, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Ethan Carter, we have an opportunity for you that could change everything. I stared at the screen, and for the first time in a long time, I felt something other than pain or anger. I felt a new beginning pulling me forward. Months passed in a way I didn't notice at first. Days stopped feeling like survival and started feeling like progress. I was at my desk when Daniel walked in one morning. You got it, he said. I looked up. Got what? The overseas project, he said. The architectural bid. They chose you. I blinked. That's not possible. He smiled. It is. They want you leading it. For a moment I didn't speak. Then I said, I'm not that guy anymore. Daniel shook his head. You are. Just different now. That stayed with me longer than I expected. Later, Sophie came by my apartment like she always did. She looked at the paperwork on my table. You're leaving. I leaned back. For work. Long-term project overseas. She nodded slowly. Good. I frowned. That's it? No argument. She smiled slightly. Why would I stop you from moving forward?
I studied her.
Most people would. She sat down. I'm not most people. A silence fell between us. Then she said softly, You survived. I looked away. No. She tilted her head. No. I changed. I said. She nodded. That's better than surviving. I didn't answer, but I felt something shift inside me. Before I left, I went back to my family home. Emily opened the door first. She froze. Ethan. I gave a small nod. Hey. She stepped forward quickly. You disappeared for so long. I needed space, I said. She looked at me carefully. You look different. I am, I replied. Inside, my father was sitting alone in the living room. When he saw me, he stood up slowly. I heard about the project, he said. I nodded. It's real. He studied me. You earned it. That surprised me. You approve. He sighed. I don't know everything anymore, but I know you're trying to rebuild. My mother appeared behind him. Ethan. Her voice broke slightly. I'm fine, I said gently. Grace stepped closer. We failed you. I shook my head. We all failed each other. That truth settled heavily in the room. Later, I met William alone. He looked older now. Tired. I should have protected you better, he said. I replied, I'm not a child anymore. He nodded. No, you're not. That was the first time I felt distance and peace at the same time. Days later, Sophie and I walked through the city at night. She asked, Do you still think about them? Sometimes, I said. Does it hurt? she asked. I thought about it. Less than before. She smiled faintly. That's progress. We stopped near a bridge. She looked at me. What do you want now? I hesitated. I don't know yet. That's okay, she said. I looked at the city lights. For the first time, my future feels like mine. Sophie nodded. It is. I finally believed her. But even with everything healing, something inside me was still changing. The anger was gone. The pain was quieter. And the emptiness was starting to fill with something else. One evening, I got a message from Emily. You should come home before you leave. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I sat there thinking about everything I had lost and everything I had rebuilt. And for the first time in a long while, I realized I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was becoming someone new, and that version of me was starting. I stood on the rooftop of the building I designed years ago, watching the city move like it always did, like it never cared who got broken inside it. Years really change everything, I said quietly to myself. Behind me, Sophie stepped closer. You've been quiet all morning. I nodded. Just thinking. She leaned on the railing beside me. About them again? I didn't lie. About everything. A long silence settled between us, but it wasn't heavy anymore. It was calm. Sophie looked at me. Do you regret any of it? I exhaled slowly. The question stayed in my chest for a moment longer than expected. I think about the man I used to be, I said. Sophie asked softly, and who was he? I gave a small laugh. He thought love was enough, that if you give everything, it will stay forever. And now? She asked. I looked at the skyline. Now I know better. She stayed quiet, letting me continue. I said, if none of it happened, I never would have learned my worth. Sophie nodded slowly. That's not regret. No, I replied. It's acceptance. We stood there watching the wind move through the city. After a moment, she asked, what happened to Lucas? I looked down for a second before answering. He lives quietly now, I said, far from everything. No spotlight, no power, just consequences. Sophie didn't push further. And Olivia? I shrugged slightly. She built a new life too. Different city, different name in some ways. But I heard she still carries it with her. Sophie looked at me carefully. And you? I smiled faintly. I stopped carrying it. She nodded like she understood exactly what I meant. We stayed there for a while, just watching the city. I said quietly, my family, they're not perfect. They never were. But now they're honest. That's something I never thought I'd say. Sophie replied, people change when they have to. I shook my head. No, people change when they finally face what they've done. A soft silence followed. Then Sophie asked again, and you? What did you become? I looked at my hands for a moment. I became someone who doesn't live inside betrayal anymore, I said. She smiled slightly. That sounds peaceful. It is, I said. Finally. Later that evening, we drove to the coast. The sky was orange, fading into dark blue. Sophie handed me a small box. You still have it, don't you? I knew exactly what she meant. I opened it slowly. Inside was the engagement ring, the same ring that once meant forever. I held it between my fingers. For a moment, I saw everything again. Olivia's smile, Lucas's silence, my own broken voice. Sophie said gently, you don't have to keep it anymore. I nodded. I know. We walked to the edge of the shore. The waves moved quietly, like they had been waiting for this moment. I looked at the ring one last time. I loved deeply, I said. My voice didn't shake. I lost everything, I continued. The wind moved stronger now. I survived. I stepped forward and let the ring fall into the ocean. It disappeared instantly. And now, I said quietly, for the first time in my life, I'm free. The waves took it away without hesitation. No one spoke for a while. Sophie stood beside me, not trying to fill the silence. I looked at the water and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not pain, not anger, just space. We turned and walked away from the shore. Behind us, the ocean kept moving like nothing had happened. But inside me, everything had changed, and for the first time I didn't look back.